I have to say, this was a difficult build. See, this is a Hot Wheels Evil Weevil Redline, and whoever had it before me did some things to it. Now, you saw that it was painted white. It had some odd decals on it, you see there. Took it, it didn't even need to drill it apart. The front engine fell out. This back engine was put in backwards and held in place. It seemed like it was dried glue on there, but like Elmer's glue. So I pulled that off of there and got the engine out of there. The engine had a bent post, and the two engines have the posts that hold this thing together. So they're critical. I was thrilled that this casting had both engines, but that's the way it's supposed to face. There was no glass on this. The glass was gone. The interior, fortunately, the interior is the thing that's in the best condition. It's dirty, but it's in great shape. You can see it used to be Spectra Flame Blue, the original color on this. But this poor little casting, get that glue out of there. This poor little casting was just beat to hell, and someone, I don't think it was a kid. It's too nicely done for a kid, but just was in rough shape. You see it has that centered plastic thing that holds the wheels in place. The axles go through that plastic. And I'm sure you've seen that on other red lines I've done. And those of you who do these have seen it before. That is even damaged up towards the front. But it came out of there okay. You see that the base has been painted. Some of the base has been painted black. But here's something I didn't notice originally was the crack in the base. And that came back to bite me. After I stripped the paint off of it, I saw that crack even better. And then as I was trying to fix it, the whole front half broke off. So there you see I ended up putting it together with some JB Weld and a 256 washer that I put where that post would be, where the hole would be in the base. And, I clean up the JB Weld that's on there, but I didn't want to get too carried away cleaning it up because I needed the strength to hold it together. So that eliminated me polishing this base later. The body itself had a chunk, well, a chunk is, I'm exaggerating. It had a dent in the front fender that I worked on to get rid of, and, there were some casting lines that needed to be cleaned up a little bit. There were some rough areas. The body itself, other than that front fender and just some common things, wasn't in too bad of shape. But this was one of those castings that just kept surprising me. It's one of those things that reminds you, if you're working with new castings, there's a huge advantage. You're not fighting odd little problems. And when you're working on something that somebody else has done something to at some point, you could be in for all kind of nightmares. This has cap style wheels that you see there, but you see that front part of that axle area is all messed up and there's glue on it. And I needed to do some work to that. And excuse me, I'm sorry if I'm coming across as frustrated with the build. I'm not. I tried some things on this, and it was definitely a learning experience. I had to pick fuzz out of there. But it's interesting how things come along that just keep surprising you on this kind of build. And that's kind of what happened here. It's one of those that can't make me wait until I get to do a new casting for a change and just paint it and do something to it. But man, this one, whoever messed with it before really did a number on it. Then the engines, the one has a bent post, but that you learn to work around. Because of the narrowness of the post, I had to drill and tap 172 holes, and then put the 172 screws into it. So the easiest way for me to do this on this small of an item is with the pin vise. And so you just take your time, drill the hole with the pin vise. Nothing gets too crazy that way. And once it's drilled and tapped, it's easy enough to throw a screw in there. And so, it's definitely tiny work. It's not easy, but if you're patient with it, it's not really that much of a problem. I think going to the pin vise definitely helps. If I just tried to drill this straight from the outset, it would have been bad with the power drill. Then I wanted to give it a candy apple look, candy apple red. So I went with the metallic gold base coat, then the Duplicolor, then the Worth Clear over that after the decals were on. Decals, you ask? Yes, decals. These decals are from Second Chance Redlines, and they're the Spoilers series, Hot Wheels Spoiler series numbers that originally appeared on the Evil Weevil. So I wanted to do that. They were stickers. They weren't decals originally. And somehow, I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if I'm just being goofy or it's, memories of my childhood coming back. But these decals really look like stickers when they're on there. And you'll see it when it's done, that it doesn't have this like bright white background, black number boldness to it. But you'll see that when it's done. There you see the base, and I put the wheel section back in, and I CA glue that in place. I ended up spraying the base with that chrome aluminum spray that you've seen me use before, because I had used the JB Weld. I couldn't really polish the base the way I wanted to. The engines I did not hit with the silver paint. I basically took a wire wheel to them and then a buffing wheel to clean them up. I didn't want to polish them, but I definitely got them a lot cleaner and shinier. And then I dipped them in the IPA, cleaned off any residue. And then I do clear coat them with that Worth clear gloss lacquer that you see me use on the casting itself. So here's where we ended up. You see the decal stickers? They just have a sticker look to it. I did get replacement glass for it, also from Second Chance Redlines. And it's supposed to be for the Evil Weevil. And it seems to be a good fit. It's kind of snug. But I'm sure that's probably just the way the original is, too. Fits the casting well, as you'll see. But this casting was a challenge because so much had happened to it. And, between the base cracking, between it having the crack and then coming apart, the replacement glass. I did put replacement caps that you saw in there, but those are no big deal. The engines with the one with the bent post and, me putting the washer on the bottom. This little casting had a lot going against it. And even the candy apple red, the gold wasn't exactly what I expected. The gold ended up being a thicker, for lack of a better way of saying it, chunkier kind of gold. I think I wanted more of a gold like the aluminum paint I use, like on the base, where the gold, it just had a different look than I expected. I don't know how else to say it. So I'm not sure the candy apple is as candy apple red as I hoped. I don't think it is. I go off camera here to put the engines in. You'll see a break here in a second because this was just tedious. I didn't want to screw up the paint as I was tightening these screws. So I really got in there, got my face in there and got those engines in there. So everything stayed intact. It's far from perfect. I think it's a lot better than that poor little casting started out. And the steering pulls a little to the left. So there you see where we started. And, you know, I was thrilled to get this casting. I can't remember where I bought it, but I was thrilled to get it, and I knew it looked like it had been through hell. I had no idea the base was cracked. Um, Looking at it, I knew that back engine was in there backwards, but I didn't realize that both posts had been drilled out and that glue was basically holding the back in place. Didn't really see the little chip on the front. But here's where it ends up. And I love the paint. I think I wanted more gold to it, but I'm really happy with the paint. Um, and I'm happy with the finished build. I think the base painted silver works. I think it all works. And so I hope you like this too. And you kind of see how the decal there kind of looks like a sticker. And maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe it's childhood flashbacks. Delusions of an old man. Anyhow, I hope you like this build. I hope you feel that I got it to a respectable state. And there's some other good glamour shots. Thank you all for watching these videos. And I hope you had fun with this one. I know I sure did. Stay safe and healthy out there. I'll catch you in the next one.